How's it going? Doing a little safety check right now, so gotta pay attention. Getting back onto the highway here. I was riding around thinking about last night actually. Last night got a little rough. Hold on one second here. Just gotta make sure no one's over yonder. No one's coming up around the other side of me, doing anything stupid. But yeah, last night went a little bit rougher than it should have. Yesterday, was riding around all day on backcountry roads, which things clean as hell. God dang. Whew. Nice truck. Anyways, so I was riding around last night and getting close to the end of my shift. And as I said, I've been riding around on back roads all day. Problem with the back roads is there's not really anywhere to stop. Well, there's plenty of places to stop, but you just got to know where to look. And the main issue that I have is usually when I do my last safety check of the day, I just get on my phone and I'll look up a truck stop that's like, judging by my hours, how many I have left. I'll pick out like one or two places, one place, maybe if I don't make it very far, something happens, traffic jam up in front of me, I'll just stop there. If it's clear all the way through, then I'll shoot for that second spot or, however many I can find, I guess. And I mean, depending on what I gotta do for the night, that changes. Usually, or sometimes it's just one. I want to get a shower, do some laundry, whatever. There's all kinds of stuff like that. But last night, I was riding around, and I think I was about an hour away from my shift being over. My 14 was what was stopping me. And for those of you that don't know, your 14-hour clock is the one that starts as soon as you click on duty in the morning. That clock starts. You cannot stop it, and it just keeps rolling all day. And once you get to the end, you better be stopped. Otherwise, you will be in violation if you if the wrong things happen. That violation can really be used against you as far as I know. Like if you were to get in an accident and they said, oh hey, this guy's got a violation on his log, maybe he's not the safest driver, maybe he does rush, maybe he doesn't plan ahead, all sorts of stuff like that. And I guess there's some merit to it, but it's kind of reaching a little far. It's not the point, but it's just stuff like that, mistakes that can be made in trucking, because I ended up getting a violation, going over my 14 by about, I think it was about 15 minutes or something like that. And I mean, I passed places that I could have stopped at, but the problem is I'm doing 55, 45, and then it's dark, it's foggy, so you can't really see all that well, and you're sort of like looking like, is that a place that I could stop? And then by the time you get to the driveway, you're like, oh yeah, I probably could have stopped there, and it just kept on adding up like that, and eventually ended up sleeping on a ramp, which I am not a huge fan of. I've only done it twice, including that time last night, and I don't prefer doing stuff like that. I mean, some guys you'll see them stacked up the ramp and on the other side of the ramp, and I can't get with all that. I don't know. That is just not my style. I like to be sitting flat when I'm stopped to sleep, but yeah, it was just a mistake made by myself only. I know it's my responsibility to find a place to stop, but sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. But I was thinking back on that and decided I should make a video about it, because there are a whole mess of mistakes that you can make out here, and some of them won't be that bad for you, and other ones can get you some real trouble. Prime example of one that could get you in real trouble is this past week. I was in Chicago and I was picking up actually I think I had this in another video, the coils that I brought down to Alabama, and I had, you know, all my chains on there, all my binders on there, and a trainer pulled up next to me into the bay next to me, and he's like, you know, oh, how long have you been driving? And I was like, you know, like about a year, somewhere in there. And he's like, oh, really? You know, and he starts asking me all kinds of questions about the load that I was securing, and I was like, I mean, it's strange because all that stuff has worked for me, but if you go by the book, I thought that what I had set up on that trailer was textbook down to a T, a little bit over secured. That's what I thought I had. But what he started explaining to me was basically what you're doing here is incredibly unsafe. And he started flipping through pages in the securement book and showing me all sorts of stuff, and I was like, you know what, it's a dang good thing that you pulled in here today, because I didn't realize that much of this was a thing. And he's talking about angles of chains and angles to the load, and even I messed up something so basic as the working load limit of chains, which a working load limit is basically it's, how do you want to say it? It's the worth of an item that you're going to use to secure something on your trailer. So like a good example of that is straps, chains, and I guess that's about it. I mean, everything has a different worth or value to the working load limit, and usually, I mean, they're all kinds of weird numbers. It's like 5,400 for straps, 6,600 for 5/8 chains, or 3/8 chains, my bad, and 4,400 for 5/16 chains. And don't quote me on that one, I'm gonna have to look it up in the book, and I'm about to tell you the reason why. Because I thought, and I don't know where I got these numbers from, but I thought that these 5/16 chains were worth 6,600, and I thought 3/8 chains were worth 7,900 pounds. So I was going off of that math, and based off of that math, I was secure by the numbers that I had in my head. But when you look in the book, which is what the DOT is going to go by, I was under secured for the load that I had on my trailer, which if I got stopped and they wanted to take a look at what I had going on underneath my tarp, I could have gotten some big trouble. So I was pretty glad that that guy had stopped me and said, hey, what are you doing? You know, you are kind of looking like an idiot right now. I mean, I told him I appreciate it and fixed what put on what had to be put on, and it was all fine and dandy. But I've hauled a lot of loads with that type of math, with the wrong numbers in my head. So, I mean, it's a lucky thing that I didn't get caught, but it's a mistake like that could, I'm not sure if that sort of thing affects me. I'm pretty sure that they can put that on, like, driver records. I believe you got, like, your CSA score and your DAC, and I think DAC is for accidents. I'm not sure. There's like 3 ratings that a driver can get just based off of what they do and how they act out here on the road, and if they get in an accident or whatever, overweight loads, stuff like that can all be tracked. But yeah, it's stuff like that like little mistakes that you don't really think could be the end of the world. I mean, that sort of stuff could. Certainly, the load securement stuff, that really could be the end of the world if something happened there. But, basically, I mean, there are a lot of mistakes that can be made. You can make them on your logbook. You can make them, just driving down the wrong road. You can make them, let's think here. I don't know. I mean, there's all sorts of scenarios and situations that could get you in trouble because you're making a mistake. And, I mean, even last night when I was looking for a spot to park, I was getting a little antsy, and I know I'm sure to get a phone call about this, or maybe not a phone call, but possibly a message on my computer or whatever, but I was getting a little antsy looking for a spot, and I mean, it was foggy, told you that already, and was going around the corner, and I guess there was a corner in this intersection in this corner, and the lines cut out middle of the corner, and so I ended up basically in the oncoming turn lane for the traffic going the other way that I was, and no one was there, which is a great thing. And if there was someone there, I would have been able to judge that a whole lot better. But after that, I was like, okay, you better slow it down and take your time a little bit more, because if you get in an accident looking for a spot, you're going to look like even more of an idiot than just having a violation. I mean, stuff like that happens too, where the mistakes that you make, you just learn from. Instead of having a mistake that is a catastrophe, you have a mistake where it teaches you something. And if you're not an idiot, you basically listen to what happened on that mistake, and you sort of file that back in your brain and say, okay, next time, I've been here before, so I know what to do, and it's, I shouldn't be doing this right now. I should be, going slower, doing whatever. And that's the thing with a lot of the mistakes that I've made. And I've made a lot. I've had a lot of mistakes that are not that bad, and I've had a lot of mistakes, well, maybe not a lot, but I've certainly had a couple that could have ended up really, really bad. I don't know if I should put this one out there. Whatever. We'll put it out there. Learning experience, I guess. And this is one of those things when I got into this situation, immediately afterwards, I was like, if I ever get into another situation like this, I'm going to know what to do. And that's the thing with the mistakes, is you just, like, once you get out of them, you become a little bit wiser and a little bit smarter. And, like, next time it comes around to that, you can do something different. But basically, I was going down a back road. And, I mean, it's always just freaking back roads. I mean, they're fun, but sometimes they're a little bit weird. And I was coming up on an intersection. So, I mean, I don't know how you want to explain this. Basically, I had made a left turn onto a street that was leading me to another county road, or whatever you want to call it, that was coming across. So it was kind of like the roads going around it were shaped kind of like that, and then there was a cross one right in the middle there, and that's the one that I was on, is that cross piece. So I was coming through there and saw a stop sign at the end of the road. Now, the way that this stop sign looked to me at the time was that it looked as if it was angled towards the traffic that was coming to my right-hand side. So it looked like I had the right-of-way to keep going and go on to this county road here. And so I kept going, got onto this county road, and once I made that turn, and I was probably doing like maybe like 30, 35 miles an hour or something like that. As soon as I made that turn, I looked in my mirror, and there was a semi there. And so I'm looking out this mirror, and there's a semi there, and I'm like, oh, he's going kind of fast to stop at that stop sign. And then I realized that he wasn't stopping. And so basically what ended up happening is I ended up seeing what was going on in my mirror, and immediately jumped over to the left lane where the oncoming traffic would be. And obviously no one there, country road, so not much going on. And it ended up that basically if I would have stayed in that right lane, I'm pretty sure that this guy would have probably hit me, or actually I would have hit him. That's the right way to say that. I would have hit him, and something bad would have happened to either him or me, or both, or whatever. And what I ended up realizing about that stop sign afterwards, because of course, once you get over the shock of, holy crap, I almost just died, you examine it, and you're like, well, why did that just happen? Like, am I the idiot, or is he the idiot? And what I realized was that stop sign that looked like it was angled towards his side of the road, so it looked like he was supposed to stop and yield to the traffic coming on to that county road there. What I realized was that it just had, the stop sign had like snow guards on it, on the front of it, and it was angled at a real strange way so that it looked like it was angled the wrong way. And of course after that I was like, okay, if I ever have any doubt at all about any type of situation, that I'm just gonna go with the super safe route. And that was the conclusion that I drew from it. And it was basically all of the mistakes that can ever be made are from overconfidence. And that's kind of what that was a looking at it and being like, oh, that's not for me. It doesn't look like it. It might be, but I don't think so. And you just go for it. Or like last night, where I was going a little too fast, being a little too antsy about it, and ended up doing something that I wasn't supposed to do, and it was an overconfidence thing. And every here and there, you just get checked just a little bit like that, and puts you back in line. You realize that some mistakes can cost you your life, and then you're riding the straight and narrow for a good long while before your next little mistake comes up. But yeah, I just try and keep my mistakes to a minimum. I mean, I don't like mistakes at all, especially when it could affect my life or the way that I make money or someone else's life or whatever. So basically every day is just a learning process to discover the way that I can make no mistakes at all and be a perfect driver. I mean, maybe that's not possible, but it's what we're shooting for. So, I don't know. Mistakes. There will be many. I mean, especially in my first year, since I didn't know what the heck I was doing at all. It's just a sharp learning curve, and I think after you get past that, then you're like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on here, and I can adjust what I do accordingly. But every here and there, you still make little mistakes, sometimes they aren't so little, and then you adjust and keep it moving and figure out you're doing something else wrong and adjust that, and you just keep on just dialing it in, just getting onto the right frequency to be not just a good enough driver, just be the driver, like the perfect driver. I mean, that's just what I'm shooting for. But yeah, mistakes. We're all gonna make them, especially out here. But yeah, hopefully y'all don't make any mistakes that could really screw you up, and if you do make those mistakes, you stay cool and calm and get through them, and it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Try and make less mistakes today. Yeah. So yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.